Hi everyone, welcome to the Royal Saskatchewan Museum's Bird Mondays. We've covered a lot of birds so far here in the last couple of weeks. I thought this week, given that we're coming up on spring fairly shortly here, hopefully, we had talked a little bit about some of the hawks that you might find in Saskatchewan. So let's go take a look at 3 of my favorite hawk species. All right, here's the first species of hawk that we'll be looking at today. This is a Swainsons hawk. It's actually one of the smaller hawks that we have here in the province. An interesting fun fact about Swainsons hawk is that they are an extremely long distance migrant. So birds that breed up here in Saskatchewan in the summer could migrate and spend their winters down in South America. Also, interestingly, it's actually one of the latest hawks in the province to arrive here to start nesting and breeding. Great way to identify Swainsons hawks is that really dark bib just underneath their neck, and then a relatively white chin and white legs and bottom of the belly. All right, the next species that we'll be looking at is the red-tailed hawk. Just as a fun fact for red-tailed hawks, if you ever watched a really old-time Western movie, and even some recent movies, the call or the sound that you typically see played with a bald eagle is actually a red-tailed hawk. And that's mostly because bald eagles sound kind of wimpy, and red-tailed hawks really sound like a tough bird. So red-tailed hawks are widespread across all of Saskatchewan. You'll find them breeding almost everywhere except for the taiga shield. They're a fairly common species. In terms of when it arrives in Saskatchewan, it's just slightly after the Swainsons hawk that we just looked at. Great way to identify red-tailed hawks is, of course, the strikingly red tail. But when you're looking at them sitting down, sometimes you can't see the red tail, and a great cue to look at is whether or not the red-tailed hawk has a bib going across its chest of darker feathers compared to either its neck area or further down along its belly. All right, this is the last species of hawk that we'll be covering today. So this is the Ferruginous hawk. It's actually the largest hawk in North America, and it breeds right here in Saskatchewan. Ferruginous hawk females have a wingspan of about 1.5 meters, which is almost 5 feet. So this is a big bird, and females are actually typically bigger than males. Give you a little bit of a fun fact about Ferruginous hawks. Currently, we typically find them nesting in trees in the prairies. They will also nest on cliff sides and a few other structures. But historically, Ferruginous hawks actually nested on the ground, and they would build their nests out of buffalo bones. It's a pretty neat fact. So, as compared to the Swainsons hawk and the red-tailed hawk, you can see that the Ferruginous hawk has a relatively plain white belly and neck, but it has pants. So it's got darkly feathered and colored legs. So that's a great way to identify a Ferruginous hawk if you might see it flying or sitting on a fence post or sitting on a power pole. Ferruginous hawks are threatened here in Saskatchewan. All right, I hope you enjoyed that really quick look at 3 species of hawks that we have here in Saskatchewan. That's by no means all of the hawks that we have here in the province, but those are 3 of the most common ones that you might find here in Saskatchewan. There's lots of variation amongst hawks, and so not all of the cues that I told you about to help identify them can be used reliably, but they'll get you on your way if you happen to see something sitting up high and you get a pretty good look at it. So I hope you enjoyed Royal Saskatchewan Museum's Bird Mondays, and we'll talk to you later.